Are you looking for ways to use your 6x8 patterned paper without leaving scraps? Hi, I'm Jess from JessCrafts.com, and I'm here to help you make the most of your crafty supplies and time. So let's get making. Today I have a 6x8 paper busting template for slimline cards number 6, which means there are 5 other ones already available, and there will be up to 10 in the coming weeks and months. And it shows you how to take a 6x8 piece of patterned paper and cut it to make slimline cards without leaving any patterned paper scraps. Today I'm going to be using the scrapbook.com Cozy Pattern Collection. I am going to be using this green stripe, and on the back is a tone-on-tone green floral. This is a little bit more of like a muted patterned paper, and I'm going to do some things to jazz it up in today's video, but I think that there's definitely a place for that. I don't need every single one of my papers to be really flashy. However, I do think that this particular sketch is great for that kind of thing. So like I really love in this patterned paper collection, this paper. And it's a pretty like big bold design, so I could give it a lot of space because there's going to be a big 3x6 inch piece here in the center, and so you're going to see a lot of that pattern paper. So this is a great sketch for showing off a pattern paper you really like too, or like what I'm going to do today is a great time to like add a lot of embellishment, or add a fair amount of embellishment. So we're going to start with that 6x8 patterned paper, and we are going to cut it in half to 3x8, and then we need 2 1-inch strips. Here I show them 1 inch coming off the top and 1 inch coming off the bottom, and that's just because this 6-inch piece is going to go in the center of your card. So that way you could pull the center of the paper and it could look continuous, especially if you're working with like a single-sided paper. But you don't have to do that. You can cut both inches, like in 1-inch strips off of the same side of the patterned paper. It's just a matter of what your overall look you're going for, how much of that continuousness you want. I'm going to use the opposite side of the patterned paper, so it doesn't particularly matter, but if there's like a section of your patterned paper that you want to preserve, keep that in mind. And so you do the same thing with the other strip, and you have what you need for your cards. Then we are going to do some cardstock mats. You probably could skip them on this card, but I've decided I want to use them today. So I'm going to cut them to 1/4 inch bigger. The measurements for your card mats are always right here on the sketch, and you can download this template and sketch as the first link in the video description, or if you've already purchased the pack on Etsy, go to sketch number 6. Okay, so we're going to cut this to 3 1/4, and then I'm going to 6 1/4. And that's my large mat. And then here we have 2 1/4 left. In theory, I need 2 1 1/4 inch mats. That's what it says on the sketch here. But for practical reasons, part of that's actually going to be tucked under this larger thing. So I'm going to take this 2 1/4 inch scrap and cut it in half to 1 1/8. Is it 1/8? I think so. So it's going to be a little bit smaller than it's actually called for, but this way I'm not wasting extra cardstock that I don't need to. I like to be efficient on that. Also, because this is such a large piece of cardstock, this is a great opportunity to cut, to die cut something out of the center there. So again, that 3 1/4. We're going to cut it to 6 1/4 because you're going to see all the edges of that mat, but then this one will cheat a little bit and make them slightly smaller. So as you can see, it won't leave a perfect border, but I will position it such at the top and bottom that it will work. So before I assemble my card, I want to do some extra embellishing. I want to make sure that it's all embellished before I glue the pieces down. And so I'm using my scrapbook.com stack and sort trays. I'm actually going to be using a lot of scrapbook.com products today. I'm an affiliate for scrapbook.com, so if you use the affiliate links in the video description, I earn a commission, but it usually doesn't cost you any more to purchase the products. But I do want to just be super clear about that. Scrapbook.com is having a deal at the time this is released. It's, they see the website for terms and conditions. Like I can't guarantee when anything ends, but they're having a deal where you can get like a big old pack. I think it's like 10 sets of rub-ons for a live stream deal. It's really good. And then there's a bunch of free gifts with purchase. If you have to qualify, you have to have purchase a certain amount. But a lot of fun deals happening at scrapbook.com today. And so I figured I would take a moment to share some of the things. This particular set of rub-ons is part of that pack. And there's a coupon code. So yeah, really good. So this is Cozy Autumn. I'm using the Cozy paper pad from them. So they go pretty well together. I don't think they're necessarily like specifically meant to go together, but they pair really well. So I have this thankful, thankful, thankful sentiment, and there's a lot of like really pretty little things that you could use to embellish around this, but I wanted to show you another set of rub-ons. These are the vintage script ones, and they also, I believe, come in the set. And these are kind of cool because you could really like make your own patterned paper with them. So I could, cover this whole thing, or you can just take bits of them. And I just think this gold works really well for autumn. So I'm going to cut off a chunk of that as well. And I usually like just cut them right out of the sheet. So I have my, there's a protective sheet on the back of them. So I cut that off with the rest that I've cut off. Rather than like just trying to cut off just the rub-on. So that way I can kind of position them around on my card, because this backer sheet is protecting anything from sticking. Because as soon as I pull that backer sheet off, it starts getting sticky. So I'm like, do I think I want to like frame it in gold? So I see this is a similar chunk of a gold. So this is like a vintage script, but what I'm pulling out here is more just like a dot dash kind of, I don't even know, like it's just some pretty gold stuff. But you could use the scripty aspect of it as well. So I think I want to frame that like so. And my experience with scrapbook.com rub-ons is they come off really easily. I do have a whole video where I talk about like different surfaces that you can use rub-ons on. So I think that I will link that in the video description, hopefully like at the end of the video. I'll remember to do that, like, so you can watch that next if you want. And it will, talk about different surfaces that you can use your rub-ons on, because they work really on a whole variety of things. And this is just the popsicle stick that they come with, and I can rub it down. You can also send them through your die cut machine, and that can apply pressure and apply the rub-on directly on, but it can leave indents as well. So, but I'm applying it on I'm rubbing it on my soft mat here. So if you're having any trouble with that, you might want to rub it on like a harder surface. Like I have my desk underneath is a slab of like wood. So maybe that would be a stiffer surface I could use, but it was no problem. It came right off. And then I can layer on the next bit. And you can choose to let them overlap. I think I would really like that look if they overlapped a little bit. So then I should apply my second piece of gold first. So it kind of looks more like one intentionally continuous piece. Okay. And then I will keep rubbing these on. I know you don't need to see me apply that completely, but I do have 2 cards to embellish, so I can find some additional rub-ons or recreate this same look. So the rub-ons absolutely stick to each other. So even though I layered those 2 and you can see there's that direct overlap, they still stuck down just fine. So I wanted to let you know that in case you weren't aware of that property of rub-ons. I know some people are like, I remember rub-ons from, I think, like the 90s, early 2000s, they were pretty popular. But some people maybe haven't tried them yet. And so here what I'm trying to do is put a little bit, and I wanted to show you can use your bone folder too. So like if you get this pack, you're gonna have plenty of popsicle sticks. Each one comes with a set, or in my experience, that's, in the past, they've always come with them. But you can also use your bone folder. And when I'm ready to peel it off, I do try to go slowly and make sure that I've got it all the way off before I continue. So that way I can make sure, because if I don't get a full coverage, I can always place it back down and continue to rub and get that little bit off. So here what I've decided to do is actually like hang the rub off the side. And so as you can see, because it's kind of like a sticker in a way, so I can just trim off those extra bits with my scissor and get kind of that like stamped look. I think what's kind of fun is like, because they're pretty opaque, like metallic stamping, I don't have a lot of success with it. With metallic inks, or if you don't like to emboss, for instance, because you can also kind of get that metallic look from embossing. Rub-ons can be a great alternative to some of those looks because you can get a sentiment, like a light sentiment like this happy onto a dark paper and it remain really readable. Whereas if I were using like a light brown ink on this dark paper, you wouldn't be able to see it, but because of the opaqueness of the rub-ons. And so here I'm gonna, again, layer it up. I will probably add a little bit of extra gold into another corner to kind of balance it out. But like I said, I like that touch of gold for the fall season. Let's finish up our card. We've done our embellishments. I actually switched one of the cards to be, the sketch shows it in like portrait mode, but I'm gonna make one portrait and one landscape because my paper was kind of non-directional and my sentiment fit a little better in the landscape mode. So remember that a lot of times, if directionality doesn't matter, like if your paper doesn't have a clear top and bottom, you can usually just switch these sketches onto their side. I essentially just have to pick away each time. And in my experience, the 6x8 paper, when it is directional, tends to be directional with the 6-inch side at the top. So these, instead of centering them, what I'm actually doing is making sure it's even on the top, bottom, and the side, like it's facing out. But this edge is going to be covered by my large 3x6-inch piece, so I'm not worried about centering that. So just wanted to revisit that I did use that like small cardstock, like slightly too small cardstock mat to be efficient on cardstock, but that's how it did not matter in the end. So I was able to assemble my portrait style card, and now I have 2 cards with no pattern paper scraps. Hopefully this has inspired you to go pull out your rub-ons if you have some. If you're curious about rub-ons, you don't have any yet, especially if you're watching this in the the time it's released, go check out that scrapbook.com deal. As I mentioned, there's at the time of recording, there's like free gifts that you can, depending on your purchase, and there's a coupon code. So, check the website, see what all the terms and everything is. But, and I'm a scrapbook.com affiliate, so I want to make sure that I'm super clear about that relationship. But I do think, if you're interested, it's a good time to experiment with those. And yeah, again, hopefully, even if you just have some rub-ons from past deals, you will take another look at them because they can be really fun and add a lot to even your patterned paper cards. You don't have to use them on plain cardstock. Pick up your 6x8 paper busting template so you can use that paper without creating scraps. If you found this video helpful, here's another video where you can find more ideas for enjoying your crafty time and supplies. Let me know you like this video with a share to your crafty community. Subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the next template or tutorial, and check the video description for product links. See you in the next video.